Hello and welcome to Daily Cricket Presents CricTalk. My name is Mohammad Isam. I'm ESPNCricinfo's Bangladesh correspondent. I'm with Atif Azam, Cricbuzz's Bangladesh correspondent. We've been covering cricket for close to 2 decades. And this is the first time, as far as we know, that we are doing a all-English cricket chat show. Welcome, Atif bhai.
Thank you, Isam. Thank you very much.
Atif bhai, we'll just dive into what's going on in world of cricket. There is the T20 World Cup that has already started on June the 1st. And the big game for Bangladesh is on Saturday, tomorrow, in Dallas. It's against Bangladesh's newest rival, Sri Lanka. What news do you have of the playing 11?
Yeah, probably Bangladesh, the rivalry is getting more and more intense with passing days. Though both the teams always try to deny that. You have covered, and I've seen in the press conference that they always try to say that there is no rivalry. But as far as I've seen, the rivalry is very intense in both camps, and more so after the last World Cup,
right?
When Saki did that out of Matthew, it turned into a new thing, and we even seen that in the Sri Lanka series. Right. So that's going to be a big battle. As far as I know, that Bangladesh team have depleted. The strength has depleted a bit by the absence of Shariful because he was the wicket taker. He was taking wickets. But so whether Bangladesh will play 3 pacers or not is a big question. I don't think that they will go for 3 pacers. They might be thinking of having Mahdi because there's a lot of left-handers in the Sri Lankan side. And the other question that remains to be seen is that whether Litton gets a chance. Whether they picked Jacket, and now the thing is they're saying that they don't have a lot of confidence in Jacket's keeping. In that case, Litton might just sneak in despite his recent form. But I want to ask you, what do you think about Litton's form, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think from the practice match that we saw, he batted at number 3. I don't think that's going to happen. I think if he plays, he will open. But I think when Tanjid Hassan and Shomu Sarkar added that 100-run stand, that was it. I think they sealed their place for the opening game. I think that's sealed. Shanto will bat at 3. I don't see Litton batting down the order. I think that's one thing that he has not tried, and they should have tried. They had ample opportunity to try that. They had 5 matches against Sri Lanka. They had 3 matches against the US. So you could have tried that as well with Jacker not being too confident as a keeper. You could, and Litton is a better keeper.
There's no doubt about that. He's a better keeper.
Yeah. So I think that's a big concern. And the other one is obviously Taskin's recovery and Shariful's injury. If by chance neither play, then you'll have a situation where you're forced to have 2 spinners and 2 fast bowlers, and then your backs are to the wall. I mean, you don't want that in a match where if you win this game, you are probably having a one foot in the Super 8 stage. Now, yesterday there was a game, Pakistan versus USA at the same ground. So obviously it was very exciting. It was a tight game. It went into super over. I had a thought that it might be 2 super overs the way it was ending. Yeah. So did you watch the game?
Yeah, I watched it, and I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
Because I never expected. I don't think anybody expected that America would pull it off against Pakistan.
Yeah.
But the way they hold their nerves, so it was really pleasing to see such a team coming up and beating Pakistan. But saying so, I expect a lot of things from Pakistan. They're the most unpredictable side. So
absolutely.
From here on, they might just be there, go till the last. So but I like the approach of America because Americans, they played well, and Aaron Jones in particular.
Yeah.
The way he's keeping his calm.
Yeah.
Even against Bangladesh series, he was the man who was keeping his calm. So he's guiding the team very well. So I've seen it and enjoyed the game.
Yeah, I think Saurav Netravalkar was brilliant in that death over. He's someone who is a software engineer working for Oracle, and apparently he has played against Pakistan, against Babar Azam 14 years ago in an under-19 World Cup game. And he's moved to the US after that. He failed as a cricketer in Mumbai because, as you know, Mumbai is a very tough place for cricketers. So he's moved to the US, gave up on cricket. He didn't even take his cricket shoes to the US. And then suddenly he started playing cricket in the US at the age of 25. And now he's probably the most talked about fast bowler in the world right now. I had a very good time watching the game. I mean, I was just talking to Robiul Bhai a little while ago. and and we did the same thing. We stood up when we were watching the Super Bowl. It was so exciting. It was so good. Probably the best match of the World Cup so far.
So far, exactly.
Now, in that game, we saw how Babar Azam was struggling, the Pakistan captain, who's returned as the Pakistan captain. Our captain is also struggling, Nazmul Hossain Shanto. Atif bhai, why don't you tell me your understanding of Shanto's situation right now?
Isam, to be honest, you have seen Shanto from the very early stage, from the under-19 days. And I've seen Shanto from the under-19 days. He's a tough bloke because the way our social media works and the way he was trolled earlier, and still he made a comeback, and that was massive comeback. So what I understand is that he's never down on pressure. It's just that the time is not going well for him. But Shanto as a person, from the very last stage, right now or a few months back, I had a chat with him, and he said that, look, I know that how much I can be trolled. When a cricketer says a thing like that he knows that this was it. So he has hit the rock bottom. So whoever is saying something about Shanto, he must also realize that he had gone through a lot. The problem is that when you don't score runs, and more so if you are a captain of the side, it's a pressure. Even in the last World Cup, I think you remember when Shanto was picked, that was the talking point in the section. But he just showed that his potential in the World Cup. He was the high scorer.
He was the high scorer.
That proves, that validates that he has a lot of character. But when you don't score runs, when you don't score runs consistently, that's when you are putting the team into pressure. And more so when the top order is not scoring runs.
Yeah.
If the top order is scoring runs, then that's a different ball game. But apart from the last 200 stands between Shommu and Tanjid, we are never confident about the top orders. No matter who says what, I don't think that we were never look confident. But Shanto as a batsman, I think he will recover. He will have a good patch. But if now, I'm talking about Shanto when he was not the captain. But now the things have changed. So now this captaincy pressure is having some impact on him. And if that is the case, then I think that it needs to be sorted out, and sorted as soon as possible, because what I feel is that Shanto shouldn't be carrying the burden of this captaincy on his mind.
Right.
Because he's a free-playing player. When he's thinking about the team a lot of, I think that, and another thing that I've seen is that Shanto is someone who practices a lot.
Right.
He practices a hell of a lot. But when you are going into if you see the Bangladesh schedule for the last 2.5 months or 3 months, how much time did Shanto get for practice?
Right.
He's not a natural stroke maker
back to back, BPL,
yeah. He's not a natural stroke maker like Tammy.
Yeah.
So he had to work on it.
Yeah.
He needs to go into his own zone before launching him. So I think that practice-wise, whether he has got the enough opportunities to practice is one thing that we might have to think going forward, because
that's his comfort zone.
That's his comfort zone. Because what you can say about Mushfiq. While Shakib doesn't need
totally relatable. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Because like Shakib doesn't need a practice session.
Exactly. But
Mushfiq does.
Yeah.
It's not that Mushfiq, this 2-hour, 3-hour session of Mushfiq I don't think that makes him more skillful. But that gives him the mental peace that needs that.
I've done my work.
I'll be
ready. Yeah, I mean, I think in Australia they call the cricket captaincy the second most important job after the country's prime minister. I think in Bangladesh it's almost the same nowadays. I mean, there is a lot of talk about a Bangladesh captain, then a lot of leadership roles in Bangladesh. I think if when Shakib was the captain or Tamim was the captain, you always heard from them, always visible. I think that is a huge burden on a young cricketer who just recovered from a sort of, as you said, a traumatic time in form. So when he recovered, and I recently spoke to him about how he recovered or how that particular time was, remember?
Yeah, I read your just before the World Cup.
So that point where Atif, I think you remember, he was in UAE, he was dropped.
Exactly.
He was dropped, and Shanto dropped, and then he was taking the World Cup team. I just feel that it's not a form issue because I think he's timing the ball well. It's just that, as you said, he has a confidence issue, which keeps changing with what sort of pressure he's facing as a Bangladesh captain. It is a tough thing to do, being the Bangladesh captain, especially when the team is not doing well. You know how we react. The media reacts, mainstream media, social media, everyone reacts to everything. Now, talking about reactions, you are someone who went to Bangladesh's elite school for sports, BKSP, and our viewers should know that. And one of your, I should say, alma mater is, I'm going to talk about them, Liton Kumar Das and Shomo Sarkar.
Yeah.
Am I right? Now, we obviously know that Shanto will bat at 3. Liton is not having a good time. And what is wrong with Shomo?
I think that injury had a...
Right.
He had an injury. Because when you're having an injury, then when he was recovering, that match against Sri Lanka, and all that went through after that, that really put him into trouble. And another thing is that, I'm not sure, but what I feel is that when he was picked, we always talk about Shomu's relationship with Hathura Singh and all those things.
Right. You mean picked recently, like when Hatu came back?
When Hatu came back.
Right.
Then Shomu got picked and all those things. And all the things that's been written and that's been said in the different... It might at times, I'm not sure, but it might at times feel that whether Hatu's return made me return to the national side.
Right.
Whether I'm playing on my potential or not. But
Right.
on his day, I like Shomu's innings here against Zimbabwe.
That's a good knock.
That's a good knock. Not because that was a 100-run stand. He didn't try to copy Tanjid.
Yeah, he allowed him to play.
He allowed him to play and he played. In fact, he carved his instinct.
Right.
At times, I think he's a natural stroke maker.
Right.
But in that innings, in that particular partnership, if you have noticed, I've seen that he just didn't try to hit, just didn't try to match Tanjid. One thing that was very good, that looked good to me. And the other thing that he knew that, okay, let me take some time.
Right.
But in what I understand is the wicket that's been played in USA,
Right.
whether players like Shomu can score runs, is a it's a difficult one because he takes stroke, square the wicket.
Right. He needs a bit of bounce.
A bit of bounce. But here in this, as far as I've seen, what I understand is that unless you play straight, it's difficult to score runs.
Yep.
Even yesterday's match, the last 4, that was a straight shot.
Yeah.
It was a straight drive.
Yeah.
He couldn't have picked square the wicket because the wicket did not allow such kind of shots. So someone who is playing straight would be much better bet than playing square the wicket. But still, another thing is that I'm talking about his mental side. Another thing is that when someone gets so much confidence from the coach, it can also have a good impact on him. Okay, the coach trusts me.
The most important person in Bangladesh cricket trusts me.
Yeah, because the coach took him to Chittagong when he was injured just to see him rehabilitated in front of his own eyes. So that much love.
Of course. No. About Liton, everyone wants to know. You first tell me, what do you make of this form dip? It's been long. He's not scoring runs.
I think it's one of the biggest mystery right now in Bangladesh cricket because you have written that, I've written that on several occasions, the most talented batsman of his generation.
Yeah.
But keeping respect to all his talents, his run does not validate what we are
hearing about him or what we have seen, right?
Yeah. Because the way he's scoring runs, when he scores runs, it's a delight for any person in the world to see his batting.
Yeah.
But his consistency is a big question. What I did not like about him, or in the recent past, we didn't have chat or things like what I didn't like. In the match where he tried to scoop 2 deliveries and got out inside. After that game, he had a conversation with the broadcaster and he said that was the best option.
Right.
So what I feel is that as a cricketer,
that should not be the mentality.
Unless you admit that I made a mistake, it's very difficult to get over it. Right. But still, Liton on his day is good, but with this kind of form that he's carrying, if he thinks that he can, because now there was a time when he was straight into the playing 11. But do you feel that that is the case now? Because
no, I'll tell you something. Firstly, I think talent, the word talent is overrated.
yeah.
And it should have a broader meaning. I think Mushfiq is very talented. I don't care how he bats. I don't care how he looks. But the guy has a talent for hard work. I think Tamim has great talent because I think he worked on his batting. That is a talent. Shakib.
Yeah, even I think the Naeem Islam was a very talented batsman.
He was a very talented batsman. He did what he played to his limitation. Yeah. So coming back to LKD and Shomu, I think looks great. But recently I was looking at the numbers, and Atif, I'm really concerned that they're going into a zone where they're they could remain unfulfilled for the rest of their lives. I don't want to mention it, but Mohammad Ashraful obviously has played more than 400 international innings. He's got a 24 average. We always talk about him, that an unfulfilled talent. He could have done this, he could have done that. I'm just a little fearful whether Liton and Shomu are sliding into that place where now they're averaging 23, 25 in all formats. It's not looking great. And this 2024 World Cup, I'm sorry, I think I've said it before, I've written it before. Given how we no longer have Tamim, Mushfiq in the batting lineup, given that Shakib has an eye issue and probably, he's coming to an end, Mahmudullah is coming to an end. The thing is, you have Shomu and Liton as next senior players. This is a big World Cup for them. They bat in the top order, so they'll get opportunities to bat if Liton plays. So I just feel that it's a big time, it's a big occasion for them. I hope they step up.
But don't you think that they need to understand that now it's their responsibility to take the team over, cross the line, and not just for once or twice. Because most of the time, if you go to the stats, no matter who says what, if you go to the stats, we will see that the big five have contributed most in Bangladesh's win.
Absolutely.
You can name that Liton played that good innings, or Shomu played that good innings. Yeah, the innings against South Africa.
Of course.
But on consistency basis, unless they step up in this World Cup, then going forward, their place in the national team would be in real trouble because others are also coming up.
Yeah, and talking about consistency, I think we're done talking about LKD and Shomu for now. Let them just go out there and enjoy the World Cup. Talking about consistency, I think I'm really impressed with how the Bangladesh pace attack has done in the last sort of 2.5 years, or even you can say from the start of 2021, they were given a lot of responsibilities by Domingo. And then even Hatu came and was quite convinced that in white ball cricket, the fast bowlers are going to do well. But they didn't do well in the World Cup, Atif bhai. You were there, you watched them. What had happened, and do you think they've recovered enough for this World Cup? The whole pace attack, the 4 pacers that are in the team.
I think that they can recover, but when you have doubtful Taskin and an injured Shariful, then probably it's going to be tough. But what I feel is that the pace attack that we are having right now, if you compare to other teams, you can compare to one of the best.
It is.
Man, not many teams does have Mustafiz at the end, back end.
Nope. Yeah.
Not many teams doesn't have the swing that Shariful brings in.
The movement that he brings with the new ball.
Yeah. So this pace attack is very, very skillful.
Right.
But the thing is that we are missing one paceman, and that is Ibadat.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Because these players, Ibadat was the one. I always say that Ibadat is someone who could really put some fear on the. I still think that his bowling in New Zealand, that test match,
unbelievable,
was one of the best spell of any pace bowler of Bangladesh.
Yeah. And I think one of the best spells bowled in New Zealand.
Yeah. That was so this guy. So the thing which Ibadat brings, those 4 overs, because after Ibadat gone, Ibadat used to bowl. He didn't used to bowl with a new ball. He used to do the hard work. He used to bowl with the semi-new. So what happened to me? What I feel is that probably Taskin and others have to shifting their roles because they have to fill the role of Ibadat.
Yep. Yeah.
But what do you feel? What do you feel about Bangladesh's spin attack?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting question. I think when you go to the World Cup in the US or West Indies, you had that idea that the spinners will be coming into play, and we're now seeing that they are actually. If Bangladesh is playing, I'm actually happy that they're playing against South Africa in New York, because it does hold, it does stop. It's a bit like Mirpur, not very much, but it doesn't have that much. It doesn't hold back the ball, but it still has a bit of bite in it. I think that's a good advantage to have. The spin attack, obviously, Shakib will be very important. I think we have Mahdi Hassan. Mahdi Hassan is the one who will bowl in the power play. I honestly, a lot of people ask me why we don't have. Why doesn't the Bangladesh team have Mehdi Hassan Miraj? I don't know. I mean, I think he doesn't bowl much in the. He didn't bowl much in BPL, but we also have Tanveer in the attack.
Yeah.
And we'll probably have Mahmudullah bowling, and I think Atif is one of the traveling reserves. So I don't think he'll be playing. But yeah, I mean, it's a good attack. It's. I mean, Shakib and Mahdi are good players, but I think Mahdi has a lot to prove at this level. I think he played 2021 World Cup. He missed the 2020 World Cup, and now he's back in the team on the back of some good performances in the BPL. So I mean, it's an interesting sort of attack, but at the same time, a lot will depend on how Mustafiz can bowl in the last 6 overs, how Shoriful can do the job in the first 6. I'm really worried about Shoriful. I think Shoriful has to be in the team. Taskin is there. Now, the funny thing is, I found out that day, when Shoriful and Taskin have played together in T20s, they've lost 17 out of 22 times. Now, you tell me why that has happened.
It's a funny stat.
It's a funny stat. Anyways.
But Isam, I've got another question.
Sure.
That if you see the Western USA series, do you think that all the opponents, Bangladesh opponents, are going against Saki from the very beginning because they want to demoralize Bangladesh's set? Because Saki's bowling is now becoming a concern because he's not been as economical as he used to be, and he's not picking up wickets as regularly as he used to be. So his bowling needs to be a bit of a.
I think the last time I expressed my concern about Shakib's bowling, he really hit back hard. I mean, that's the thing about Shakib. I think even in the India game, he didn't bowl well.
Yeah.
I think, Atif, you remember in 2017 what had happened. Like, his bowling was absolutely in the dumps, 250 average, and then he just turned it around. That's the thing with him. I'm not too concerned. Very experienced bowler. We just recently saw that he's crossed 700 wickets in international cricket. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I think he's bowling a little too slowly at times. I think maybe he's, as you said, there's no Ibadat in the team. And against the US, there was no Taskin in the team. So he had to be the wicket taker. So which is why he went slowly. And I think Shakib also probably underrated the
Americans.
Yeah, I think he did.
A bit.
I think I did. And that's why maybe he bowled a little slower. He wanted to bring them out and they just went for the cross back shots. So that happened. You're right. I think
against the Indian game, Rohit Sharma also charged against him.
Yeah. And they do a lot of homework. They do a lot of homework. And everyone knows Shakib. Like, Rohit Sharma has faced Shakib
more than a lot of Bangladeshi players have faced him.
In the IPL, right?
Yeah.
So they know about Shakib. Virat Kohli knows about Shakib. Now Sri Lanka is coming up. They would also know about Shakib, but Shakib has a good record against Sri Lanka. And I'm pretty sure that tomorrow morning we're going to see a different Shakib bowling against Sri Lanka.
I just hope so that tomorrow morning, because if he doesn't, then Bangladesh might have to pay.
Now, we've talked about Shakib, we've talked about the spinners, we've talked about the batters. Now, the guy who I mentioned earlier in the show, jokingly, that he's the most important person, he's the second most important person. I'm just doing that correction. Chandika Hathurasinghe. You are, obviously, you have spoken to him, done interviews with him since 2014. He's been in Bangladesh. He took a break and then he was back again. Second, or nowadays, as the kids talk about, Hathurasinghe 2.0 in Bangladesh. What has that been like? You think there has been impact on the team?
It's an interesting question, because when Hathurasinghe was brought back, Bangladesh Cricket Board, what I feel is that Bangladesh Cricket Board have really given a lot of power to him. The way he was a powerful man even on the first stint, not this time. Yeah. Even on the first stint, he was a very powerful man. For the second time now, when he came back, he came with a lot more power. The thing is that when you have a lot of powers, at times, he's human. Right. At times, he might make mistakes.
Right.
And another thing is that earlier, he used to get results. A coach is as good as his team is delivering.
Right.
For Haturo to have that power in the dressing room, he needs to get results.
Right.
I was seeing somewhere, and it was very. I was seeing in some program or things like that. That earlier Haturo used to know who is bowling the 49th over.
Yeah.
He was so
Specific about his planning.
meticulous about his planning and all these things.
Yeah.
But we don't hear these things right now.
Right.
And what I understand from him is that I interviewed him, and what I understand from him is that he believed that when he came earlier, Bangladesh, the whom he is working with, they were boys, and now they have grown into men.
Yep.
But the problem is that these men also need to be guided and on constant basis.
Right.
Because you play cricket. You play cricket. You even today you always play cricket. You know cricketers' mindset. You just need that last moment instruction that okay, bowl this over in this length. Okay, get that square leg deep. It's the 5th ball of the over.
Right.
Those little things, I think those little things are missing in Haturu. And another thing is that probably, I'm not sure, probably he is not having the same time, same relationship with Najmul Hussain.
Papan Bhai.
More so because he's a very busy man now.
Papan Bhai has become very busy. Yeah, of course.
Earlier, Papan Bhai used to have a lot of time for cricket.
Right.
Haturu could give him a lot of time for cricket.
Right.
But right now, because he's being the minister right now for sport, so he's not having the same kind of rapport with Papan.
Right.
It's not because of they're having any distance or things like that. It's just reality. It's just circumstances.
Right.
So he might feel that he's a bit cornered because earlier, you know very well
that relationship.
His relationship.
Yeah. And I don't think it's a problem. It can be. I mean, if two people, they're trying to do something better for Bangladesh cricket, I think it's okay. They can have there is a lot of layers to it, but I don't think it's a bad thing to have that. And I asked Hatu in that first press conference. I don't know if you remember. I asked him, how many times did the VCB call you? Did they call you once? He said no. Twice?
No.
He said no. I said thrice, and then Ravid Bhai stopped me. I said, don't ask anymore. And then later I found out how many times they asked him. So my impression of Hatu's second stint is that we have seen some classic Hatu. Rishad, obviously. Rishad is, it was very much like how he backed Jubair Hossain Likhon. But Rishad has good batting and good fielding. So I think he's a better package than Likhon. I think he's more hardworking than Likhon. And he's got the height and he bowls quite well.
Yeah.
That's one Hatu speciality we all know about. The second was obviously Shommu Sarkar coming back. The other one I didn't want to see was Hatu. Hatu didn't have a steady captain. I hoped that Tamim would have been the steady captain that Hatu worked with. Because remember, it was Mashrafi when Hatu was captain in the first stint. So Mashrafi was captain for most of Hatu's stint in the first stint. So I think now with Tamim, Shakib, Shanto, it does have an effect on a coach. I think it does, it doesn't give him the time to settle with one captain. He did back Shanto as a good captain, as sort of a potential captain. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a little challenging, and there's a lot of backlash on Hatu this time. It wasn't like that last time. People believed him. Social media has become thicker. I like to call that. It has become deeper, and now people actually go after Hatu a lot more. I don't think he cares. He's not the type.
But
he's
to be honest, Hatu had. You can say that he's having two phases.
Yeah.
One before the
phases or faces.
Phases.
Cool. Okay.
One before the Afghanistan series, and one after Tamim retired.
Right.
So you're talking
two phases.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
people are getting people are impatient with him now.
Right. Yeah.
But the biggest thing that is said right now is that he doesn't care.
Yeah. He's like Jose Mourinho. His hero is Jose Mourinho. And honestly, Atif bhai, he's bringing a lot of things into the team now. I mean, I think you've heard about the blazer, the tiger code. And these are cultural things. I mean, these are things that a team needs. A team cannot exist on just watching social media and seeing how much they're trolled. They need to know these things.
And they need to have some values.
They need to have some values. And he's added a few things, like he shows them some videos. Like I know that he showed them a video from a show called Greatest Showman. And he showed how people can be inspired. He's trying to bring some AI things into coaching as well, like what is being developed elsewhere. I think he brings that. He's got ideas. But the thing is, we as a team, Bangladesh team, it doesn't move fast enough. Like, sometimes I think Russell Domingo was a very sort of he let the players be. He wanted them to have a bit of decision making courage. Same with Steve Rhodes. But we're not probably like that. And as you said, I've played cricket, and I've honestly seen that. Like even today, standing at mid-on, I'm having to tell the bowler, remind him every ball what he's going to do. I'm not the captain, but I'm just telling the bowler. It comes out of habit in Bangladesh. I think that is one big thing that maybe coaches like Jamie Siddons understood, maybe Dav understood, and now Hatu does. But and then we then complain that he's too he bothers a lot. But I don't think he does. I think Hatu is a good coach. I think end of the day, Bangladesh wanted him. I think we've heard, I don't know whether you reported, but I didn't, but I've heard that Tamim and Mashrafi actually wanted Hatu to come back, or at least Tamim did. And the cricket board was always on board to bring Hatu back after Domingo. So I think we know what they want. And I think if an organization wants something and they get it, yeah, you can test them. The World Cup can be a big test. We don't know what's going to happen after the World Cup, but let them have that much. Let's have some faith in them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But one thing is that the only thing that on this stint that really disappointed me about Hatu is that he shifted someone's batting positions at times.
Yeah.
Like in the last World Cup, he shifted Bidwa's batting too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want him to just have faith on a regular batting, on a solid batting group. Because if you shift a player's batting position very often, we are not like Steven Smith, who knows that he can bat anywhere.
Anywhere. We are not like that.
We are not like that. Yeah. Because you can bring Maxwell at number 3, you can bring Maxwell at number 7.
He'll do his job.
He'll do his job, and he'll not find trouble at all.
Yeah.
But knowing this Bangladeshi cricketers, whenever a player is batting at number 3, if you ask him to bat at number 4, his self-doubt starts to creep into his mind.
Yeah.
Oh, whether I'm not good enough to bat.
Atif bhai, will Hatu have a lot of company in US? I mean, are there going to be a lot of BCB officials there? Have you heard anything?
Till date, Cricbuzz Papon doesn't have any plan to go to America.
Oh, okay.
But it might change after tomorrow's game.
I hope they win.
I hope they win.
I hope he goes because they win.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. You think it affects the team? We've talked about it a lot when we are having our usual gossip sessions. But what do you seriously think about it?
I think it has two sides of it.
Okay.
One thing is that if you want to manage Hatu, your only option is Cricbuzz Papon. If Shanto is smart enough, if he doesn't like anything about Hatu, he can go to Cricbuzz and ask him that I'm not liking it. And it can be done. This is one way about it. And the second thing is that this over-protectiveness doesn't allow our players to grow.
Yeah.
They are shy to express themselves.
I mean, they think it's overprotectiveness. It's actually, I think it's more, they're bothering the players.
To an extent, yes.
Yeah.
To an extent, yes, because...
I mean, if I'm not blaming them. They can go, they're the cricket board officials. They can go anywhere they want. But maybe keep a little distance from the players. Maybe stay in another hotel.
I was saying this thing a couple of days back with some of my friends.
Yeah.
That at this moment, Cricbuzz Papon is acting like a proper BCB president.
Okay.
He doesn't have too much time to come here. He's just overseeing what is done.
Which is the president's job. Okay. You have told us how to do. You have told him how to do his job. We'll move a little further, a little into Bangladesh cricket. There's a recent news, Atif bhai, that Navid Nawaz is back in the under-19 team. What do you think about that move?
No, I think it's a good call. It's a good call just because of two reasons. One is that Navid is very comfortable with this culture,
right?
Cricket culture.
Yeah.
The second thing is that when you bring Navid, you are having a lot of expectations from him.
Yeah.
And he he went back. He because whatever we say, whether we talk about Domingo, we talk about Haturo Singh, we talk about Jamie Sissons or Gordon Greenidge, Bangladesh's most successful coach is Navid Nawaz.
He's won a World Cup, of course. Yeah, good point. Yeah, true.
So when you bring him back,
why let him go?
No, but he wanted to go away. That's something because he had a good offer from Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Now when you're bringing him back, I think that you should support him. Give him enough support and enough freedom.
Yeah.
To work because he's a very hardworking guy.
Right,
do you remember when there was Corona, no one was coming. Now it came.
He was the only one. Yep. Yeah. Atif bhai, just some more news. There's a Bangladesh Tigers camp going on, and there's a HP squad going. I mean, have you followed that?
I followed that. The Tigers camp is right now in Sylhet.
Right,
They're doing the skill camps,
and it includes a lot of these backup players for the World Cup. I think white ball players.
Yeah, white ball players, and there'll be the Bangladesh will have Mushfiq and also in the Tigers camp.
Mohammad is also in this camp.
Yes, also in this camp because they're probably taking preparation for Test series in Pakistan through the Tigers camp. And as far as the HP camp is concerned, I think that Horis will come. Nathan Horis
Nathan Horis is going to come.
Wow. He's going to be the coach of HP in the coming days.
Oh, that's a big news.
Because HP doesn't have any coach. Hemp went up into the national side as well.
Once again, you have beaten me to it.
Oh no. These days we cannot write it, but it's official.
No, true. Of course, I always miss the things that are coming. Atif bhai, So I end up missing news because I'm playing a lot of cricket these days, especially in the weekends.
That suits me.
Yeah. Now I'd like to tell the viewers and I'd like to tell you as well that there is a very thriving corporate cricket culture in Bangladesh. I don't know whether you've seen those matches. I think they show it on T Sports.
Yeah, very regularly.
It's very interesting. I mean, it's created another sort of like an underground culture, but it has a lot of these former players or even new players, but these are good players and they play a lot of T20 cricket. It's quite interesting. The ones that are shown on TV sometimes, those are very big events nowadays. And I play a little bit and I've seen the culture grow and it's humongous now. There's like a few thousand players now playing. There's a lot of tournaments in Dhaka, obviously. You have tournaments in Rajshahi, Bogura, amateur corporate tournaments. And there's a big bankers tournament as well. So that's something we're going to talk about in the show in the future. We're going to have updates on that show and what that culture is like. We're going to bring in people to do that. I think this show is going to go into a few things about Bangladesh cricket, not just the Bangladesh team. Atif bhai, just to finish up today, what's your prediction for tomorrow? Should I go first or you go ahead. You tell us your prediction.
I think Bangladesh will find it tough to beat Sri Lanka.
Right.
Because their back is against the wall after losing the opening game.
Right.
So Sri Lanka will, and I just have a fear that if Bangladesh gets complacent, that Sri Lanka is a team who will score 70-80 runs, then that's not going to be the case. Yeah. So tomorrow's game for Bangladesh, Sri Lanka knows that if they lose tomorrow, they're
out.
Basically, they're out. So Bangladesh will have to find some ways or other to stop them from getting into to stop them from taking the control of the game. Because if I follow Bangladesh cricket very much, I've followed it, I think that Bangladesh cricket's biggest problem is that we go into a good zone at times, but then we suddenly lose the momentum.
Right.
In T20 cricket,
that's a very short
thing. Yeah. We go into a phase where we looks that we are in comfortable position and then suddenly we lose 3 wickets or suddenly we give away 40 runs in 3 overs.
Yeah.
So those little things, if that happens, and I think Patriana will play a big role and will Hasaranga.
Yeah, Hasaranga is good.
What's your prediction?
Good. I think Bangladesh will win tomorrow. My simple reason being that they also have their backs to the wall. And I just feel that Bangladesh has a lot against them. And I've seen in the past that when things are against them, that's one point. And the other one is Sri Lanka is a familiar opponent and something that riles them up. They don't like Sri Lanka. I think they've grown that habit now. So I think they might go for the kill tomorrow. Of course, Sri Lanka are not going to be bowled out for 70 odd. I think Kusal Mendy is going to score runs. Always scores runs against Bangladesh. Hasaranga is deadly.
Chaturanga.
No, you mean Pathum Nissanka.
Pathum Nissanka,
Pathum
yeah.
Nissanka is good. Asalanka is good. There are some very good players in the Sri Lanka team. I think Bangladesh has to fight back. I mean, it's enough. We've heard enough trolls, enough abuses. They have also. They're hearing it directly.
Yeah.
We have seen some videos. I have some hope that on this Dallas wicket, they have the chance to score a big. If they bat first, they have to score 180, 190. And then we have the bowlers too. I think Bangladesh has the bowlers to stop Sri Lanka. So I think that'll be my prediction that they'll be. Let's see who's right.
But toss will be crucial.
Toss will be crucial as well, of course. Guys and ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. But this is not the end of this this concept that we have. I would like to thank Daily Cricket for bringing up this concept. It's the first English language chat show that we have attempted, and Atif Bhai having partnered me for like the last 14, 15 years. We've worked together in the same press box. So I just feel that we all felt that it's time that we come and tell our viewers that Bangladesh, what is happening in Bangladesh, the international viewers also should know. Until next time, it's goodbye from us and from Daily Cricket. Thank you.